I have this video by Upper Echelon or however you pronounce it, that is called the Path of Exile 2 Controversy. And in the thumbnail, it says divided. And I kind of know what he's going to talk about in here. He's going to talk about how the Path of Exile 2 community is divided. There are people like me that love the game and we want them to preserve the essence of the game. There are other group of people that want the game to be more like PoE 1, faster, easier, more loot, whatever. And there is a divide because we don't want the game to be too much like they want to, and they don't want the game to be too much like we want to. So what does GGG do? How do they satisfy both groups? I believe it is basically impossible to satisfy both groups. So let's see what, that is another topic. Let's see what Upper Echelon or Echelon has to say in here, dude.
This video is brought to you by Surfshark. Stick around to hear more about the special offer they're providing to the entire Upper Echelon community. Alright, over the past week or so, I've been playing a substantial amount of early access Path of Exile 2, and having witnessed how the community is sort of eating itself in a way, that's kind of extreme, but it gets the point across. I wanted to talk about what the game is, why that's been happening, and give my take overall on where it goes from here. Or maybe where I think it should go from here, which isn't necessarily guaranteed, though I do think it's likely. Obviously, anyone choosing to watch this right now knows that Path of Exile 2 just recently opened up for early access, but maybe what they don't know is that the community is extremely divided. On one side, you have a horde of players relentlessly complaining about difficulty, as well as other uncomfortable mechanics that they want to be changed. And on the other, you have a throng of gatekeepers who smugly pretend that the only real issues in the game are skill issues, and that anyone complaining simply needs to get good in order to fix the experience.
I also don't like the dismissiveness of that argument. There are a lot of complaints that people have with the game that would be fixed with getting good. But that doesn't mean that their complaints are not valid, because overcoming a bad system doesn't make the system good. There are, of course, other things that are fine as there is, and they don't want to get good. But what I mean with all of this is that this is a nuanced topic. There is a spectrum, and we shouldn't just completely dismiss people with just get good. We can have a conversation, right? Not all but play. No worries, sir. I thought ranked was my fear run, but I might just master melee. It is way more fun in melee to me as well. Yes, melee. Yes, in my opinion, it is really most fun. If you keep your warrior with a good bow and arrow, you get the best of both worlds. The only reason I pursued this build was because I got a legendary bow in Act 2. Are you doing like the weapon swap? And you sometimes attack from ranks and sometimes attack from melee? That would be really cool. I haven't tried that. I played rank, was my first run. Okay. So you started playing rank and then switched to melee. I started melee from the start. And to me, I never had this complaint like people saying, oh, it was hard for the warrior, or it was not fun, or whatever. I never had that problem. I just played the game and it was awesome for me, and it still is.
I'll cut right to the chase here. They're both wrong. And while I do have to admit there's a pretty good chunk of people in the middle with nuanced opinions on the matter, more so than most other gaming communities out there, to their credit, it's a pretty deep chasm between these two main sort of groups, and they don't really seem to be willing to give up any ground. A little backstory on me here personally, because one of the groups is incredibly elitist and often completely unwilling to entertain any opinions whatsoever from those that they deem as lesser to them in terms of raw game knowledge. But I've played Path of Exile since maybe 2014. Covered the game with YouTube content since roughly 2018.
Yes, there are a lot of people that if you want to give your opinion, you have to pull out your credentials. No, my opinion is valid because blah, 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 I did this and I did that. No, fuck that. My opinion is valid because it is my fucking opinion, and what I am saying can be true. So let's have an argument. Let's see if it is true or if it is wrong. But let's validate it by the argument itself, not by who is saying it. In fact, that is a fucking fallacy in argumentation or in debate. That is the appeal to authority. So don't give me that bullshit crap, dude. I say it because, yes, I am a new player to Path of Exile. So in case someone goes and say, you don't know shit because you are a noob. Yes, I am a noob. But let's attack the argument, not me as a noob. You can say I am a noob, that is true, but what about the argument? We'll try that later, but play towards type right now, thank you. It's really fun with the warrior to have the option of range or up close, 100% recommended. That sounds really cool. Having like with the weapon swap system, swapping between melee and range, that sounds really cool. Not only with the warrior, but with every class. You would have to optimize your build like because you have like a specific points, so it would be really hard to pull off. But if you can pull it off, it sounds really cool.
And played maybe 20 or so different challenge leagues in that time frame. I was flown out to Los Angeles in the first wave of creators chosen to play Path of Exile 2 early.
Nice.
I've interviewed Jonathan Rogers directly, one-on-one, though I never ended up posting the footage. And I was invited to fly out again, sadly having to cancel last minute for completely unrelated reasons. I'm saying all this because the inability for this game's hardcore audience to handle practically any sort of dissenting opinion ever is kind of legendary. And while I'm certainly far from the best at constructing builds, and I haven't been playing since the literal first day of beta, for the original at least, hopefully this will be enough to get it through most people's heads, that if we were to think of this as an us versus them...
Brother, thinking about that, yes, I don't have the credential of saying, oh, I played Path of Exile 2 since the literal first day, Path of Exile 1. I will be able to say in the future that I've been playing Path of Exile 2 since the literal day 1. That is cool, that is nice. Yeah, you only have to put a little bit of points into dexterity for the bow, and then from there on you're good. Oh, nice. Yes, for the requirements to actually equip the bow. Okay, nice, cool. Yes, never argue from the position of authority. Always argue the position or shut up. Adults only, please. Exactly. It is the same as the ad hominem, you know, attacking the person. Oh, you don't know shit, so why should I listen to you? Well, but is what I am saying true or not? No, it is true, but I don't like you. Okay, so I am right. So fuck you, right? That happens all the time.
Type situation, I would fall squarely on the side of the hardcore. Yet, despite the fact that I would be undeniably considered part of that in crowd, I intend to viscerally criticize them here as one of the greatest problems with the game overall. Feel free to downvote, be my guest, but here's how I see it. Path of Exile 2 is a viral phenomenon with millions of players, peaking at roughly 1.2 million concurrent viewers on Twitch day one, while over 500,000 players were on Steam charts, with an untold number using their own proprietary launcher as well, probably in excess of 1 million concurrent players of the game, in addition to just the viewers on Twitch. The game is incredibly successful in all conceivable metrics. The design is good, the artistry is incredible, the sound, customization, boss mechanics especially, campaign, it's all good. Very good. But despite the fact that we've been given something amazing here, there are flaws, and those flaws are dividing the player base. I can't do an actual review right now, by the way, because I haven't done everything I want to yet in-game. I'm halfway through the end game on one build, rounding out another character on the side, which is coming along pretty well, and I certainly do plan to do a review eventually. But long before that time comes, I feel like I need to talk about community dynamics. This is what I see. Path of Exile 1 has over a decade of content, and with that comes a very large and extremely dedicated audience. However, Path of Exile 1 is a knowledge game. I'm very likely to offend some people here, which they're gonna let me know about in the comment section, but Path of Exile 1 is not skill-based. You do not need talent of practically any kind in order to do well in that game. All you need is knowledge and time. Yes, you can argue that certain endgame content requires quick reflexes, pinpoint reaction.
That is why following guides is so popular in there, because if you follow the guide for the build, actually playing the game is you just click the button and the screen blows up. So all you have to do is just look on YouTube a build that you want to play, you plug it in, and you just blow the screen. That is why builds are so popular in there. I hope that I know that builds will be popular in here too, in PoE 2, and I am fine and I'm cool with that, but that you give it that second layer, that yes, I am getting the build, I am looking for the guide, and I get the build, but now I actually play the build. That is cooler, brother. That is cooler for sure.
Actions, positioning, or awareness. But even then, with certain builds, no it doesn't. And the bottom line is that the original game feels like a mile-wide, 6 miles deep experience, in a very good way, with an overwhelming emphasis on how much knowledge you have, which personally is something I love about it. Path of Exile 2 is not like that. It is, in a sense, very similar in terms of rewarding player knowledge, right? Yes. Obviously, it should do that. However,
I have already seen, like, I am doing, brother, this build I am doing myself. And I don't know shit about making builds, dude. I suck at making builds. Even in D4, that is extremely simple compared to PoE2, I suck at making builds. So my build sucks. But it doesn't matter. I am having fun trying to make my build, you know. And I can make it work because you can play, right? If things are going badly, you can move around, you can dodge, you can backpedal, in Path of Exile 1, if your build sucks, you suck and there is nothing you can do about it. So you can see here that my build is not the best, but I am doing what I can in here, and it is fun, dude. It is fun.
An added component of the game, an emphasized component, I might add.
What I'm trying to say is that the game rewards you. I have already seen how people clear stuff and explodes everything, and I can't do that because I don't have the knowledge. So yes, the game rewards the knowledge, but you can play without it, and you can have a good time without it, which is awesome. And it's something that the first game didn't have as much. The Souls community loves these games. It must be fun, the fun dodge roll. It has to be that, brother. It has to be the cool boss fights.
Is skill, and this component is being reinforced right now in a targeted way by the developers, which is a big part of the reason why the player community is so divided. Let's get something straight. Path of Exile 1 is a turn your brain off type of raw gameplay experience. You certainly think about what choices you make for gear or skill selection, but the real gameplay overall is just turn your brain off, press 3 buttons in rapid succession over and over, cruise through the world at like Mach 15 and get millions of drops. Just don't kid yourselves. That's what it is. People love it. I myself love it, to be clear, but Path of Exile 2 is not quite like that. They don't want it to be like that. Right? The developers, they will make an effort, they are making an effort actively to prevent you from playing it in that way.
Please keep it that way. Please, 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 please keep it that way. And I am happy that they are doing that, by the way. I don't know why PoE 1 is crying. Just go play that if PoE 2 is not for you. Exactly, exactly. And I would understand the problem if PoE 1 was abandoned. Right? If they abandoned the game, I could understand because, they abandoned PoE 1 for PoE 2, and I don't like PoE 2. But PoE 1 is not abandoned. They slowed down the pace to give a space to PoE 2. That is true. But the game is not abandoned. They are going to keep supporting it. So, there you go. There you go. The people that like PoE 1 have PoE 1. But for the people that like PoE 2, we have no other game like it. If you take away PoE 2 from us, we have nowhere to go. At least you have somewhere to go, brother. Don't be selfish in here, dude.
And you will most likely, aside from a few outliers, need to play this game with your brain switched on. Most people, not everyone, there's always exceptions, but most people simply can't play the sequel the same way as the original. They are incapable of doing so. I'm one of them, by the way. And with that realization, for some, comes anger. This creates a sizable chunk of the player base who are displeased at the game's perceived difficulty because they went from a deactivated...
I have died 62 times so far from Act 2 from Act 1 to Act 2. Brother, what the fuck? Those are a lot of times. I have died a lot. Let's see how many times I have died. I have died a lot, but that is a lot of deaths. I have died 194 times. But I am 73 and I am in maps, you know. But 62 times just in Act 1, that is a lot, dude. It doesn't matter. If you are having fun, that is all that matters, dude. That is all that matters. There are people that are going to say, oh, you're a noob, you like too much. Fuck them, fuck them.
Brain simulator, where they just get the constant dopamine hit of loot drops by pressing 3 buttons with no skill as fast as possible, to a pay attention kind of experience, where they're completely unprepared to do anything other than rapidly press those 3 buttons. That's the core of group number 1. All right, as of this...
Which, by the way, why wouldn't you want to have your brain turned on when you play? I play because of that. If I don't want to think about anything, I go to sleep. I lay down and I sleep, or I watch a movie or a funny show that is brain dead that you don't have to think about it. But I am playing because I want to be engaged with the game. The thing that a game gives you that no other media gives you is interacting with the art medium. In a movie, you are just a viewer. In a YouTube video, you are just a viewer. In music, you are just a listener. You are not actively engaging with the thing. In a video game, it is special, it is cool because you interact with it. Why the fuck would you wanna have your brain turned off while you are doing that? That doesn't make any sense to me, dude. Minecraft, Stardew Valley, Brain of Games. Super successful, W. Well, then I am the one that is wrong, right? Because what you are saying is true. People love these games, dude. So the one that is wrong is me, basically. Because you are right. And for example, D4, casual players love D4 because it is just blast monsters and never think about it. So you are completely right. People love turn your brain off games, dude. To me, it doesn't make any fucking sense. To me, it doesn't make any fucking sense. But I understand. People like it.
Joining them, the current residents of group number 1, that is yet another group, this time composed of players who are coming in brand new to the franchise overall. I'm talking about Diablo 4 players, maybe, general ARPG fans. Just people who thought that Path of Exile 2 was their entry point to the series, and they're jumping in with none of the prerequisites.
And that is what is so weird. Like, the people that are liking PoE 2 the most are people that are new to the franchise. And the people that are not liking it are the people that comes from PoE 1. That is so... Not everybody. There are a lot of PoE 1 players that like PoE 2 too. In fact, the big majority. But what I am saying is like the other way around. The biggest group that doesn't like Path of Exile 2 are people that played Path of Exile 1. So in the group of people that don't like Path of Exile 2, there are more Path of Exile 1 players than new players. The majority of new players like the game. It is so weird. And I think you are right because I never played PoE 1. Exactly. And I played PoE 1, but yo sabía, I never even completed the campaign. And I am liking Path of Exile 2 a lot more. And I have recommended it to get to friends of mine that their only game that they play is Dota 2, and they are liking it too. So for new players, the game is cool, dude. It's unfair to judge, in my opinion. We only have half the game. Yes, brother, we have half the campaign. Not even half the ascendancy classes. Not even half the skills that are going to be available. So it is true. It is early access, but the game, brother, the game is beautiful. That is one thing that I didn't like about PoE 1. I know that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but let's be honest in here, guys. PoE 1, the graphics suck. Just looking at the game is... I don't like even looking at the game because the graphics are awful, dude. And Path of Exile 2, the game is fucking beautiful. It is like just moving your character around and looking at the scenario. Yeah, that already is cool. This game is fucking beautiful, dude. I think if you only have time to game for a few hours a week, then D4, if you can spend hundreds of hours, then PoE 2 is significantly better. Exactly, I agree with that statement. Repost, only a minority hate the game. They like to imply that they are the majority, but the numbers say they are wrong. Exactly, I agree completely with you, brother. Thank you for reposting it, by the way, because I didn't have the chance to read you on the other message, and I completely agree. And this minority are loud. They go to Twitter, and they go to Reddit, and they complain, and they make us think that they are a huge amount of people, but when you look at the graphs and at the reviews, we see that the majority of people are loving the game. Last Epoch graphics turned me off. They weren't great either, in my opinion. Yes, Last Epoch doesn't have the best of graphics. In my opinion, they are better than PoE 1, but of course the game is newer. But comparing Path of Exile 2 to Last Epoch, Path of Exile 2 is much more beautiful, dude.
Was it knowledge or pattern thought process type experience from the original game, putting them at a severe disadvantage when it comes to building out their characters? Does that make sense? Two main groups melded together into one. Fans of the previous game who are unwilling or unable to accept that this is now a brain-on kind of combat experience, and fresh players who maybe accept that reality and they're okay with it, but what they don't have is the prerequisite knowledge from the original game, skill tree type of stats that matter on gear, resistances, etc., etc., handicapping them in a way that more than likely requires dozens of hours to solve minimum, which includes careful reading, understanding math, experimentation, repetition, a bit of grinding, and most of all, pattern recognition, reflexes, and perseverance. It's unbelievably rewarding when you sink that time in, but it's daunting for those that haven't done it yet. Those two
that is
groups
true.
now find themselves combined on one side of the divide because they're struggling, but their response is to demand changes. They want the game to be easier. They want the game to be faster. They
Fuck
want
that.
more drops. They want the
Fuck
game to
that.
be more fun for them. And they're not wrong for wanting that, to be clear. We always want things that are better for us. That's part of being human. They're
Yes,
just wrong
fuck
for
that.
assuming that they should ever actually get it. GGG, Grinding Gear Games, the developers, seem to have a relatively fixed vision that is different from what
Thank
the
God for
original
that.
game is now.
Thank God for
And if we
that.
claim to accept that video games are a form of artwork, we need to also accept that this
They
new
are.
vision should be respected.
Games are art. I don't think, like, who the fuck would say at this point that games are not art? Of course, like in every art medium, there is garbage and there are masterpieces. Like in everything, there are movies that are garbage, and nobody says that movies are not art. And the same goes to music or whatever. Just because there are games that suck, it doesn't mean that games are not art. And Path of Exile 2, let me tell you, it is a fucking masterpiece. It is art. This shit belongs in a museum, dude. When is the last day for early access? There is no real last day, right? We won't get out of early access until the game launches, so the game is not going to turn off. Like we will just go from early access to the launch. So if you have access to early access, you have access to the game forever, basically. So there is no last day. The last day for early access will be the day the game launches, basically, and we have no exact date for that yet.
They do not want Path of Exile 2 to resemble the original in terms of pacing, drop frequency, and power creep. Though that kind of stuff happens over time, so who knows about the future. Path 1 didn't look like it does now back in the day either, but whatever. That's group 1. New players and some veterans who just aren't well equipped for what the game is. Group number 2 is a lot more simple. It's a big crowd of angry elitists who really just need to mostly shut up. They've rightly identified that the game is intentionally difficult. They maybe hyper-abuse meta-mechanics, which the original game's community is almost abusively obsessed with, to a point where a lot of them will put down or discredit on principle any build that doesn't do millions of damage per second to clear all content possible with ease, aggressively forsaking the idea of personalized fun if that fun is not as good as it should be, in favor of one-track-minded efficiency. And they maybe have a large pre-existing knowledge pool, or they just like the experience of figuring out intricate details and overcoming obstacles, which is completely understandable. But their response is to shut down any criticism of the game as invalid, writing off most complaints as whining of the unskilled, which is entirely unproductive and short-sighted.
Yeah, I said that earlier. That we shouldn't dismiss arguments based on who is saying the argument. We should just listen to the argument. What is happening in here, right? PoE2 is going to go down in history the same way D2 has. Exactly. I agree completely with that statement.
Anyone starts chiming in with things like, that's not actually how the community is, let me make something perfectly clear. I have made content for Path of Exile going back many years, and I'll eat a slice of humble pie right here. I've made extremely mediocre content for Path of Exile as well, trying to maybe branch out and do Path of Exile builds after I transitioned out of a different game called Tom Clancy's The Division. I tried my best, and the builds functioned perfectly fine. I could do tier 15 maps, etc., but I have personally been the recipient of the direct messages about how stupid they are, those builds, and how inefficient my tips were, and how I'm wrong about stat allocation, and here's why your build is shit. I have felt the way that this community...
I wouldn't feel bad when they say that to me because I know that my build is shit. They will just be confirming what I already know.
reacts to anything that they perceive as inferior or uninformed, and it's really not pretty, guys. That's not to say that they're wrong, to be fair, because the content I made really wasn't the best possible combination of stats. It was mediocre, and the mechanics that I was using weren't the best things possible in the entire game, okay? It's just factually true. Not even close, right? Like, I had a lot to improve on. But from the perspective of someone who receives mass amounts of feedback on the content that I post, I can tell you with stone cold certainty, the Path of Exile, right, the general Path of Exile 1 community, is one of the most blatantly elitist groups of players in all of gaming. But the sequel seems like it's supposed to be a bit of a soft reset. The simple God's honest truth is that Path of Exile 2 is fantastic, but it's a fantastic experience that has very obvious and objectively blatant flaws. The choice on whether or not to make changes here comes down to a choice about vision, because if they make the game easier, or if they succumb to the cries of people who really just want the game to become an extension of what the original is now, it will be in direct opposition of the intended artistic vision for the title, which would mean that a group of players complaining fundamentally altered the artistic product. I don't want that to happen, because that's genuinely absurd to happen. And if you don't like what the game is intended to be, you honestly just shouldn't play it. However, and this is a very big however, if they fail to incorporate a reasonable amount of the more well-articulated feedback from the same group of players that should not be fully entertained, they would be ignoring critical aspects of game design that need to be redone. A great example would be ascendancies, or character respec options, either or, because there are certain aspects of this game.
Brother, and I am going to join people with this argument. I am playing a warrior. I am trying to, I was trying to ascend to my 5th and 6th point. The honor system in the sanctum, that bullshit sucks. I am going to join the crowd that says that honor fucking sucks. Dude, hey, my guy, I can completely clear the whole fucking sanctum, clear every monster that you throw at me, complete every mechanic. Why the fuck should I be punished because of the fucking honor, dude? This is so fucking unfair, bro. It is unfair as fuck. I am going to join the crowd that is complaining with honor. It is true, the honor system. Skill issue, you should dodge stuff and not get hit and you will be fine. Yes, I will be fine, but it is not fun trying to do that. It sucks, dude, it sucks. I want to smash monsters in the head and I can do that because I have to dodge every fucking thing. I don't know, I don't like the honor system either. I am going to join people complaining about that.
That are very hardcore, very difficult, and very in line with this new vision of constant tactical thinking, while simultaneously existing as a complete roadblock that is unfun, unfair, and unproductive. Quickly explaining that thought process here for those that want to hear it. Some of your ascendancy points, which is a part of the character's customization and power progression, are walled off behind a certain set of challenges. One of them seems okay, yet very difficult, but fun. However, the other uses an honor mechanic, which
He said it, the honor mechanic sucks. And yes, I like the ultimatum more, but I can't do my ultimatum yet because you have to be like, the ultimatum you have to be more level so it gives you the points. If I do an ultimatum of my level, it doesn't give me the points, which is bullshit. So I can't do my ascendancy. If I wanna do it, I have to go to the sanctum, but I don't wanna go to the sanctum because it sucks because of the honor.
which replaces
Your build is great. What are you saying? You seem to be cracking that nut. Well, yes, because these maps are not that high. I am on a tier 5, I believe, tier 4. What is this? It doesn't tell me. Well, level 67. It is because these monsters are not that cracked. But I don't think that my build is like, brother, I have seen on YouTube some bullshit that destroys the whole fucking screen and nothing can kill them or whatever. My build is not quite there yet. But I hope I can refine it, right? I am doing breaking armor stuff with the Warbringer. So when I hit something and I break its armor, it explodes. But if it is something really big and I break its armor, but it doesn't die, then I hit them with the Sunder that has a guaranteed crit for something that has the armor broken. Really cool stuff. Honor sucks for sure. I think that the loss per hit should be turned down or something. Yes. If you are going to keep the honor in there, you have to make it way more forgiving. Way more forgiving. Get good. It's a normal campaign, bro. Yeah, exactly. But I know that since I am complaining about the honor in my third ascension, basically, some people are going to say, it's not that hard, bro. You just have to dodge stuff. Yes, bro. I could do it dodging stuff, but it is not fun to do. It is annoying. And I don't want to even try.
Your health, or adds on to your health. Simply put, it doesn't matter what you build or how strong you get, because this mechanic gives you a new pseudo health bar with instant loss when it's depleted, and it doesn't passively recharge. The end result is that you could be dramatically over-leveled. You could be superior to the challenge in every single aspect.
Exactly.
Except you get hit a few times, so you just lose. Exactly. You don't get hit with any risk of dying, by the way. You only get hit, period. So you lose with no recourse. And this problem actually extends much further when you really dig into it. I won't focus on it too much here, but there's a stat in the game called Thorns, with seemingly a whole bunch of infrastructure intentionally in there to support that stat as a way to build your character. You take damage, then you deal damage back to the attacker afterwards, which sounds cool, right? Well, because they chose to bar the ascendancy behind a test that demands you never get hit or take damage, you literally can't do that piece of content as a Thorn build, which locks a tremendously powerful part of your build behind it. Not because you aren't good enough, or smart enough, or perseverant, but because the game design is wrong. It'll get changed, obviously. They honestly cannot defensively maintain this as the method of ascendancy unlock without dramatic balancing changes. But putting an entire core progression mechanic behind a challenge that objectively only caters to a very few specific build types is fundamentally bad design and should never have happened in the first place. See, that's the type of thing that's valid to criticize. That first group of players I talked about, when they complain about this, they have a point. And writing them off as unskilled losers because just get good and do the challenge, position better, don't get hit, helps nothing. Similarly, by playing this game, you all of us, me included, are effectively break testing an early access product, right? Like, we're beta testers, which means there will be changes that affect all of our experiences. But so far, they have repeatedly nerfed builds into the ground, rendering them almost unplayable, which they need to be doing, right, when the core balancing is bad. But they've done so without giving players the option to re-specialize. They're rendering 60, 70, 100 hours of people's playtime.
I told you guys this earlier. Like, yes, I hate fucking sorcerers and get fucked. Your build, your stupid fucking build got nuked. I am happy. But at the same time, brother, it is bullshit that you don't get gold or an orb or something to help you respect. You should respect because people got their characters bricked, dude. And that isn't fair at all, either. So, I agree with the give me something to respect my character. We know it's early access. We know you are going to nerf builds. In fact, I love that they are nerfing the overpowered builds. And the warrior was the first character that was nerfed. So I love that they nerf bullshit. But, hey, give me a way to get out of the build, dude. But because I can bring my character. So that is, I agree completely with that.
I'm just obsolete without offering them a method of reorienting their character, which is certainly a choice they have the power to make, but it's not a choice that they should be making. Because while general balancing changes are a necessary part of the process, disallowing people from an accessible method of pivoting afterward, should they be dramatically affected, isn't valid. Just to get this out there, so far GGG has done an absolutely amazing job of handling player feedback. They've made reasonable changes to a multitude of problems at this point, some of which seem to be threading the needle between feedback and vision, so it's very easy for me to sit here with full confidence and hope for the future. They really have earned that, by the way. And I should be told.
Hey, I am also, brother, just because of the existence of this awesome game, I can't think of a world where the beautiful minds that created this masterpiece will not make the right choices in the future for this masterpiece. Because they know what the fuck they are doing. This is awesome, right? So I am confident everything will be alright. Everything will be alright, dude. By the time the game comes out, we will be trained to kill everything without taking a hit ever. Yes, I said that in my video talking about the difficulty of the game. The game feels difficult right now because we don't know shit about it. But this is a game where every time you replay it, you are going to play the campaign. What is going to happen? The campaign is going to nerf itself because you are going to know every single thing that is going to be thrown your way. And we are going to clear the campaign like nothing, without ever dying. It is just a learning curve at the start, dude. That is going to happen.
Up front right now, I've praised the original game and the development team behind it for years, so this isn't even unexpected in my view. But the point is that while the community is largely split, with disagreements on either side, it helps to be in the hands of a creative team that instills so much confidence. Yes. If this was like Ubisoft or something, I'd be like, oh shit, here we go. Bottom line, Path of Exile 2 is dealing with a schism in their player base. One side is composed of people who don't fully enjoy.
And what I want, by the way, guys, is not hate between these two groups. I understand that I am in disagreement with a sector of the players, but I don't want hate between the groups. What I want is a conversation. Like, let's talk about it. Like, they will try to convince us about their vision and we'll try to convince them about their vision. But we don't have to hate the other person because they disagree with us about a video game, dude. It is like people that hate other people because of that. It's like they don't have friends in real life. You have friends in real life, you love them, and at the same time you disagree with them about a bunch of stuff. Right? Like from a music taste to movie taste to even politics, but they are your friends and it doesn't matter. So we are humans, we are different. It doesn't matter if we disagree about a fucking video game. Everything will be fine. Of course, I think that I am right and I hope the game goes the way I want it to go. But why the fuck would I hate someone for that, brother? It doesn't make any sense to me. To me, it is funny. We can have a conversation. We can even be entertained about it. Everything will be fine.
Enjoy the envisioned experience and want it to be changed, while the other is aggressively and sometimes very blindly putting them down on principle. Those that don't enjoy specific aspects of the game right now because of well-articulated and understandable reasons seem to be getting drowned out somewhat at times by those that ignored critical gameplay functions, while those with superior game knowledge, who rightly understand some of the more advanced areas of concern, are few and far between compared to those who fire back, "Get good, skill issue," when witnessing any sort of general critique. Truthfully, it oftentimes is a skill issue. I'm just going to be fair about that. But that sort of attitude is not how you soft reboot a franchise, when turning that game into a pinnacle of the ARPG landscape, which Path of Exile 2 very clearly has the potential of becoming, right? There's a
becoming, it already is, dude. Name a better ARPG right now than this. No competition, dude. Nothing to say about it. In its current state, imagine how it is going to be when we get all the classes and all the skills and all the acts for the campaign. Oh, brother, I am getting erect, brother. Erect or however you say it. My dick is rock hard right now just thinking about it, dude. If it is already the best game, how it is going to be when it is completed? Oh, dude. Oh, dude. Great thing about the skill is in time and training you can overcome. Where talent is needed, like in Twitch gaming's first-person shooter and Master Gunners, there is little help. This game is a skill. Yes. It is a combination, right? Because having a good build can help you out a lot. So the tuning knob of the skill is like, the worse your build is, the more skill you need. And the better your build is, the less skill you need. But the cool thing is that it doesn't matter how good your build is, you still need to have a little bit of a skill. Which in other games, a skill becomes irrelevant, right? Yeah, how's it going, Jazz? Yo, through Yin Yang, my dude. Everything is great, bro. Everything is insane, dude.
Correct and an incorrect way to be handling all of this. And we're straddling the line here from a community perspective on incorrect, right? It's pretty close. That's it. Path of Exile 2 is a wonderful experience so far, especially for an early access title, and I have high hopes for it in the future, especially if the community can sort of suction itself back into the middle as opposed to spreading out more on the extremes. I think it will. I actually think that's the overwhelming likelihood here. But I also wanted to vocalize that perspective in a video because, I don't know, I just wanted to. If you want to support the channel, check out the links down below, the video sponsor.
Hey brother, this was an awesome video because this is something that needs to be talked about, but I want to talk about it in a conciliating way. What I want is for we to understand that there is a group of the community or a part of the community that is the complete opposite of us on how they are perceiving the game. And that we should have a conversation while we all love the game and not hate the other part of the community and wanting to take them out, because this is what I told you guys with the if you don't like it, don't play the stuff. I don't like that shit. I won't say to another PoE2 player, hey, if you don't like it, don't play it. No. Because that destroys the game. I want everyone to play it. Let's talk about it. Why you don't like it? What can we do about it? Maybe you should try this out. Let's construct a community in here. Let's build a community in here, dude. Not create a war between two groups of players and hate on each other. That is not constructive, dude. That is not constructive, and that doesn't help GGG either. If we want to help GGG to build the better game possible, we should have conversations about it. Why you don't like it? Why you like it? What is this? What is that? And then GGG will have the appropriate feedback to improve the game. Let me know in the comments below what you think about it. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I a clown? Am I a genius? I love reading comments even when they don't agree with me. Also remember to like the video, to subscribe to the channel, all that cool stuff. Guys, thanks for being here. You guys are awesome. God bless ya. And remember, don't be afraid ever, because this is just a ride.